Okay, folks, here's a quick review of the Assault Squad Nick Fury figure that was produced by Hasbro as part of the Marvel Avengers line of products. I picked this up at Toys R Us for $9.99. Now, when I first got the figure out of the blister pack, I liked what I saw. However, upon closer examination, it became readily apparent that the body of this figure was carried over from the Winter Soldier figure that came out last year with the Captain America, the First Avenger line of products. The head of this figure seems to be a reasonable facsimile of Samuel L. Jackson in this scale. However, I was disappointed to see that the exposed right eye appears to be a bit crooked. He also seems to have a problem with holding some of the included accessories, which I'll show momentarily. The paint apps of this figure were, for the most part, nicely done. There was one big error on the right wrist where the black of the trench coat overran onto his skin. There were some minor errors on some of the belt buckles of his uniform, but they are small and not too noticeable. The joints on this figure worked well right out of the package. I had no problem with moving the joints in the neck, elbows, shoulders, waist, hips, knees, or ankles. However, the articulation in the shoulder and waist area appears to be somewhat hindered by his trench coat. So what I'll do here is pause, zoom in, and give you a closer look as to what the figure looks like. Okay. Alright, Assault Squad Nick Fury came with 3 different accessories, so let me pan down real quick and I'll show you what those are. The figure stand that you see him standing on was not included in the package. And it should also be noted that the gun that you saw in the close-up that's located in the left shoulder holster is not removable, just like it was on Winter Soldier. Okay, first up, he came with this broom handle Mauser. This is the same exact handgun that was included with last year's Winter Soldier figure. And frankly, I don't understand why Hasbro chose to include this gun and not a handgun like a Sig Sauer, like what came with the Captain America movie figures. As Nick Fury doesn't strike me as being the type of person to carry this handgun. But he does seem to hold this gun better in his right hand as opposed to his left hand. And just like on the Winter Soldier, it goes into the holster that's located on Nick Fury's left hip. Unfortunately, the trench coat does make it harder to access that holster. Okay, next up, he came with an M4 with an M203 grenade launcher mounted underneath it. Thankfully, this weapon was not warped in the package, but it is a bit of a challenge to get him to hold it properly without bending the rifle stock out of shape. Okay, and finally, he came with this missile launcher. Now, if you're thinking that this accessory looks familiar, then you would be correct, as this accessory was included with the Winter Combat Captain America figure that came out last year. The coloring has been changed somewhat on the launcher, and the included missile is now lilac purple instead of yellow. And if you want to see how this weapon functions, feel free to refer to my review of the Winter Combat Captain America figure that I did last year. Alright, back to the figure itself. What I'll do now is a quick 360 of this figure and let you see what he looks like from all sides. Okay. So overall, I don't think this is a bad figure. It displays well, and the joints worked well right out of the packaging. Although some of the posing options and access to the gun holster were somewhat hindered by the trench coat. But in spite of that, I'm going to go ahead and give this figure a great recommendation, as I think it is a good figure to have for your movie-themed Avengers squad display. Alright, so on that note, take care and stay tuned for my next review. Have a good one.